You're watching CBS 13 News.
We are tracking rain and for some, snow overnight.
Here's meteorologist Craig Miller with a look at when things are going to clear up. Craig.
Hey guys, yeah, we are seeing that rain and snow. Good news is this is all gone by early tomorrow morning. We looking at pretty colorful map though, aren't we? The yellow and orange, that's some heavy downpours that we've been seeing across the interior. The blue is the snow that's falling across the North Country. So some folks, are seeing a couple snowflakes. Right now we're at 44 in Portland as a cold rain. Brunswick, Lewiston, and Augusta sitting at 39 and raining in Rumford at 39, although there is some wet snowflakes mixing in. You get north of that, especially in elevation, that's where we're seeing the snow. We cool off into the 30s tonight, and that's why interior sections, especially in the mountains and the hill country, we'll see some of those wet snowflakes with some minor accumulation in the mountains. Otherwise, it's a cold rain all the way down to the coastline. So raining now, raining tonight, raining early tomorrow morning. Then we see a lot of clouds with a few peaks of sun for your Friday with highs back into the 40s. A bit of a cool down in time for the weekend, but all in all, I think you'll like the weekend forecast. We'll look at it coming up in just a minute.
A chairlift company admits a design flaw could have contributed to Saturday's incident at Sugarloaf. Partech Ski Lift put out a warning Thursday night for operators to check certain safety components and to pay attention to a specific electrical switch on the lift. That's the same type of lift that malfunctioned at Sugarloaf over the weekend. 7 people were hurt. About 170 lifts across the country could be affected by the design issue.
A Biddeford barber who says he got into a brawl with an off-duty cop is now charged with assaulting his girlfriend. Last week, Brian McMahon told CBS 13 that he had a misunderstanding that led to a fight with an off-duty police officer. McMahon says he opened a car door he thought belonged to his girlfriend, but it was the wrong car. A Westbrook police sergeant drew his gun and the two got into a fight. McMahon says he ended up crashing into a window of his barbershop Headlines. Well, on Thursday, police got a call that an employee at Headlines heard screaming, yelling, and banging in the basement of the business. When officers checked the cellar, they say they found the victim, then arrested Brian McMahon for domestic violence assault.
Police are still looking for the man accused of exposing himself to girls. Officers released a sketch of the suspect, who they say also may have tried to lure a girl into his vehicle. CBS 13's Jennifer Long shows us how police are trying to find him.
Brunswick police say they still don't know who tried to lure an 11-year-old girl into his car yesterday, but they say they have a better idea of what he might look like.
Police say a sketch artist spent hours with all of the victims to come up with this: a white male in his 20s or 30s with blonde hair and a goatee.
That's the guy they're looking for.
Steve Kilburn and Amanda Hopkins heard about the incidents yesterday.
You can see our house from here.
They live right by the school with their 3-year-old son, Evan.
It's always troubling when something like that happens. It is a safe community, and, it can happen anywhere.
Today's been a lot of sifting through information.
Brunswick Police Patrol Commander Mark Hagan says tips have been coming in all day. They've increased patrols around the area and are in constant communication with school officials. He says the best way a parent can protect their child is to talk to them about these kind of situations.
Communities like Brunswick are very safe places. People don't think sometimes to have these kind of, this kind of communication with their children. So it's a perfect opportunity just to remind everybody once again of what they should and should not do.
Kilburn and Hopkins say they talked to Evan about this today.
All we can do is educate our little guy about what to do when that happens, and hopefully he makes the right choice in the moment.
Brunswick police are still looking for tips. If you have any information on who this guy might be, give them a call at 725-5521. In Brunswick, Jennifer Long for CBS 13 News.
A deliberate act. Authorities now say the co-pilot of the plane that crashed in the French Alps, killing all 150 people aboard, deliberately locked the other pilot out of the cockpit, then flew the plane right into a mountain. As CBS 13's Tina Krause reports tonight, while investigators believe they know what happened, they still don't know why.
French prosecutors say the co-pilot of Germanwings Flight 9525 deliberately flew the jet into a mountainside as passengers screamed in terror.
Refused to open the door, turned the button to get down the plane.
Authorities say the cockpit voice recorder reveals German co-pilot Andreas Lubitz locked the captain out of the cockpit after he stepped out. Lubitz then manually set the plane on a descent as the captain pounded on the armored door.
No word during the 10 last minutes.
The 28-year-old is from the German town of Montabaur. People who knew him say he appeared normal and happy to be working for Germanwings airline. Investigators don't believe Lubitz was a terrorist. They're focusing on his personal and professional life to figure out what motivated him. CBS News has learned Lubitz trained at an Arizona flight school in 2010 and had a U.S. pilot's license. Lubitz's family traveled here to France to visit the crash site. They're being kept separate from the victims' families. Some families arrived Thursday at the staging area about 8 miles from the remote crash site. Flags from the countries of the victims are on display, and officials have set up a viewing area where families can look toward the crash site. Tina Kraus, CBS News, Seine-les-Alpes, France.
Now, within hours of these revelations about the co-pilot, several major airlines changed their policies to always require 2 crew members in the cockpit at all times, including Norwegian Air and Air Canada today. That's already the standard practice, by the way, on commercial flights here in the U.S.
The Boston Marathon trial continues next week. On Thursday, it ended with graphic autopsy photos. Crystal Campbell, who died from one of the explosions, was there with Karen McWaters from Maine, who lost part of her leg in the attack. A medical examiner testified that Campbell died because cut blood vessels in her legs caused significant and rapid blood loss. The blast was so strong that autopsy photos showed Campbell's back was charred. The trial continues on Monday. 4 people are critically hurt after a brownstone burned in Manhattan. More than 250 firefighters across New York responded. As CBS 13's Brian Webb reports, a construction crew was working on a gas line in that building when the explosion went off.
Flames and thick black smoke engulfed 2 brownstone buildings after an explosion and partial collapse Thursday afternoon in downtown Manhattan. The explosion happened in a 5-story building that housed a sushi restaurant on the first floor and apartments on the other floors. Patrick Nersessian was 5 blocks away walking his dog when the explosion tore through the building just after 3:15 p.m.
I just heard this incredible sonic explosion. I mean, it was like you could feel it. It was like reverberating.
Peter Mancini has lived in the building since August.
I was up at school and I walked past the TV and I saw my building engulfed in flames.
The city's building department says a private construction crew was working on a gas line in the basement when the explosion happened.
Preliminary evidence suggests a gas-related explosion. That investigation is ongoing.
Consolidated Edison has turned off gas service to the area. Brian Webb for CBS News, New York.
A man accused of driving drunk and crashing into an Amtrak train is still behind bars right now. Around 1 a.m. Thursday, so almost 24 hours ago, police say 35-year-old Brendan Connolly was driving an SUV when a Downeaster train smashed right into it, sending one of his passengers flying about 35 feet. A viewer image from the aftermath shows a man with his head in his hands and a stretcher there. The passenger is said to be seriously hurt.
The rear passenger was ejected from the vehicle, which we believe is the causation of most of the injuries.
The scene was pretty gnarly. There was nothing left in the back of the vehicle. When the train hit it, it just pushed him like 75 feet, and the guy must have been thrown at least 25 to 35 feet. So, on impact.
Police say it's not clear if the SUV was sitting on the tracks or passing through, trying to beat the train perhaps when the train collided with it. Connolly is charged with OUI. His bail is $610. Nobody on the train was hurt.
13 is on your side with a scam targeting your tax dollars. It's called water dumping. Police say people are using their EBT cards to buy cases of water, then dumping out the water, redeeming the empty bottles, and buying things like cigarettes and booze with that money, items they can't purchase with EBT cards directly. Norway police say a witness took cell phone video of 2 people buying water, dumping it out, then immediately getting cash for the bottles. Police say the empties can really add up.
Well, obviously they're stealing money that rightfully is belonging to people that could use these benefits.
Detectives plan to meet with the district attorney's office about charges. If convicted, an EBT cardholder can face up to a year in jail and $2,000 in fines, as well as lose their SNAP benefits.
Governor Paul LePage says he will not apologize to Maine author Stephen King. The governor made a surprise visit last night at the Cumberland Town meeting to talk about his budget plan. Maine author Stephen King is demanding an apology right now from the governor for suggesting in a since-corrected radio address that King moved to Florida so he wouldn't have to pay Maine income taxes. The governor has spent the past couple of months making the case for eliminating Maine's income tax altogether. Now, during last night's meeting, someone asked the governor about the controversy.
Do you intend to apologize to Stephen King for the untruth that you told about his failure to pay Maine income tax?
I never said that, sir, so I'm not going to apologize. I never said Stephen King did not pay income tax. What I said is Stephen King's not in Maine right now. That's what I said. Now, how their papers report it, I don't know.
But here's what the LePage communications director told our media partners at the BDN last week about the original radio address. Quote, "We had to take Stephen King at his word. He said he pays income taxes in Maine, so we corrected the radio address," end quote.
The governor of Ohio is joining Governor LePage in support of a federal balanced budget amendment. Republican Governor John Kasich stopped by the State House today. Maine's constitution already requires a balanced budget. Governor Kasich and Governor LePage say a balanced budget amendment at the federal level would help control government spending and rein in debt and deficits. However, not everyone agrees.
Ties our representatives' hands during severe recessions. They aren't able to have the flexibility to issue stimulus, to help create jobs, to help the unemployed.
That without the balanced budget requirements, presidents are going to come and presidents are going to go, and the debt's going to keep growing.
Kasich also pledged support for a constitutional convention in which the Constitution could be amended through a vote of 2/3 of all state legislatures. That would be a first in American history.
He went head first out a window so he could be with his girlfriend. The restrictions an elderly man is up against and why his situation could end up in court.
Plus, a fast-moving tornado and quick thinking. The one thing dozens of kids and teachers did right that likely saved their lives in Oklahoma.
And seeing a cold rain outside right now. Some folks seeing some wet snow. We'll track out the end of this storm and we'll talk about how much sun we'll get over the weekend. Up next.
Now, your CBS 13 Weather Authority forecast with Craig Miller.
Welcome back. A look ahead to the upcoming weekend. Saturday looks like a lot of clouds in the sky. It will be cooler. We're going to have a cool down. Temperatures will be in the 30s. Could see a snow shower. Have you noticed how late the sun is setting? Isn't that awfully nice? Sunday is brightest. I think we see sunshine, upper 30s to near 40. Sunset that day, 7:05. All right, high temperatures today. Boy, that was nice to see some melting, wasn't it? We had upper 40s at the coastline. We had 50s, though, for many inland communities. Our weather watchers from interior York County all the way up through Oxford County had mid-50s today. A little cooler at the ocean's edge because, of course, the south wind off the ocean brings all that cold ocean air in. We're seeing rainfall on the Doppler HD tonight. The yellows, oranges, and reds, that's some heavy downpours. May even be some sleet pellets here mixing in as well. And then to the north we go. Look at the snow now across the northern counties. There's colder air that's filtering in. Primarily it will stay in the mountains, but we may see a few wet snowflakes mixing in southern sections before we're all done, although I don't think we see any accumulation there. Rainfall totals so far, weather watchers calling in with either a quarter to as much as a half an inch of rain. Lewiston, a half an inch. Sanford and North Sebago, right around 4/10 of an inch. A little bit less here in Monmouth and Portland. Bethel, of course, we're still picking up the rainfall, and that'll continue for the overnight. Temperatures have cooled into the 30s for a lot of communities, so this is a cold, raw rain overnight. There are some low 40s along the York County coastline. Notice pretty consistent here as we look at the mid-coast. Colder as we head to the north, because we were seeing the snow here from Errol to Rangeley. Temperatures have fallen into the lower 30s. We continue to fall into the 30s overnight, so this will be a cold rainfall. By morning, we may see a couple of wet snowflakes mixing in from Augusta back through Lewiston, although I don't think we see any accumulation there. Really, the accumulation is in elevation in the mountains here. Rangeley up through the Carabasset Valley, an inch or two for you, and then 2 to 4 inches up near the Canadian border. Again, the Oxford Hills, you may get a coating of snow out of this, but for the most part, it's just really going to be a rain event. All right, wide view of the satellite and radar shows our storm system. It's actually a frontal boundary with a couple of weak storms on it. One is moving through right now, bringing the rainfall. There's another one that'll slide up during the morning tomorrow that'll just kind of keep the rain in the forecast, at least for the morning. So here we go. Early in the morning, it's raining from Augusta, Lewiston, Portland, back through York County first thing in the morning. The rain exits the coast, skies are cloudy with a couple of sunny breaks, and we jump into the 40s. Now, with that clearing tomorrow, or well, I really shouldn't call it clearing, but a few sunny breaks, that may help bubble up a few pop-up showers in the afternoon. See these little green blobs here? They represent pop-up isolated afternoon showers. We'll be in the 40s again tomorrow, though, so it's more melting going on for your Friday. Saturday, the colder air filters in. This version of Storm Tracker is trying to give us an awful lot of sun, but I think we have an awful lot of clouds in the forecast for Saturday. Could even be a couple of snow showers, but other than that, things are fair on Saturday. It's just colder than you may like. It's colder than average. Should be in the mid-40s this time of year, so this certainly is colder. Sunday is a nice day. A couple rain showers on Monday. A couple of weak storms may actually bring a little light snow both Tuesday night and Thursday night. Of course, it would just melt, though, during the day after the fact.
At least we're to that time of year where any little snow we're going to get through pretty quickly.
It doesn't last.
So that's good.
Sure is.
Okay, there it is, right there. It's right in front of us.
That is new video of Wednesday night's tornado in Moore, Oklahoma, which left one person dead, 20 others injured, 4 seriously. Nearby, 74 children raced to a basement of a gym just before the roof collapsed. Everyone's okay. The governor has declared a state of emergency.
Sunday River is investigating how a skier died on the slopes. This happened Wednesday on the Black Hole Trail. That's for experienced skiers only, a double black diamond with a steep drop-off, really one of the most difficult trails on the mountain. 35-year-old Ben Taylor worked at Sunday River. He was off that day. He was also the general manager of the Wilson Lake Country Club in Wilton. Wednesday, Sunday River says he was skiing with a friend when he veered onto Black Hole, apparently fell and crashed down into the woods at the bottom of the hill. His friends and coworkers are now trying to figure out exactly what went so wrong.
He was an avid skier. I just found out he skied 82 days this year, which is quite a lot of skiing in one season.
Sunday River says Taylor was wearing his helmet.
91-year-old man escapes from his assisted living home to be with his girlfriend. He's fine, but as CBS 13's Maria Valdenas reports, his situation could be headed to court.
Real LaRue has had his fair share of heartache, losing 3 wives to cancer, and on Tuesday he'll proved he'll stop at nothing to be with the new woman he loves, escaping out of a first-floor window here at the Pavilion Assisted Living Facility.
He says, I'm outside, I'm free.
That's the phone call 77-year-old Grace Heracles got from her boyfriend of 5 years, Real LaRue, after he escaped from the locked Pavilion care facility he was staying.
He went head first out a window, I'll tell you that much.
The World War II vet suffers from dementia. Although Real wants to live with Grace, in 2014 a probate judge granted guardianship over him to his family. Court documents show Grace can visit Real, but her attorney, Paul Aronson, says his family is abusing their power.
They had moved Real from one assisted living facility to another and would not let Grace see him.
13 sweet messages saved from Real on Grace's answering machine. She says Real's family is trying to stop the two from being together because they think she's after his money.
All I want to do is be with my honey. Just love him as much as I can. Who knows, he may only have 4 years left.
After spending Tuesday night at Grace's home, Real returned to the Pavilion Wednesday. Dementia specialist Elizabeth Weaver says it's extremely difficult for families of dementia patients to balance keeping loved ones safe while allowing them their independence.
If I were going to give some advice to people, it would be don't try to do this by yourself. Seek out some help.
Grace says she's holding on to the belief love will conquer all.
I want to make his days the happiest days ever, but they don't seem to want to.
We reached out to Real's daughter's attorney, who tells us this is a family matter and they won't be commenting. Grace's attorney says he has a consultant that will be meeting with Real to see if he'd like to bring the matter back to probate court. As of right now, Real and Grace are unable to contact each other. Reporting in Sanford, Maria Valdenas for CBS 13 News.
The world's best bowlers are in Maine for the first time competing, where those strikes are flying, and a week-long lineup.
The Bruins with a late-game meltdown, the two former Pirates, and the one blown call that cost the Bees a valuable point. Next in sports.